Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 1. And as the headline says, I mean, it was a tactical masterclass from Roy Hodgson. I know the talk will be about Manchester United and how bad they were, and they were really, really bad today. But the fact is that Crystal Palace were absolutely brilliant tactically in this game. Everything that they did, there was a purpose to it, there was a method to it. They were well drilled, they were well organized, they were well structured. And all of these things, were what Manchester United were, and that is what allowed them to get that victory. You look at that game, there was at no point in that game that it looked like maybe Manchester United might score a goal. There was a one chance, which I think Garnacho got that double deflection thing. That was the only time that I thought, oh, that might have gone in. Otherwise, I never looked at that game and I thought, wow, Manchester United are going to get a goal here. Every time they attacked, they lacked conviction. Every time they defended, they looked like they were one mistake away from conceding. Whereas when you look at Crystal Palace, they didn't attack a lot. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they could have scored 3-4. No. They got the one goal that they got. It was slightly good fortune about it, but they got that goal. But from that moment on, the way that they defended, it never looked like they were going to get broken down. It never looked, at any point, it never looked like, they were kind of struggling. They were kind of panicking. Yes, it was the end of the last 10 minutes. There was some, head and scared defensive moments. That happens, right? That happens towards the end of the game as the other team gets desperate and you start, thinking about running down the clock. You do get a little bit desperate, but it was never to the breaking point desperation. It was never at the point where you thought, a goal could come. It never looked like that. And I think probably after that first goal, if not even the first goal, I was probably on the 20th minute, I was like, United are going to be lucky to get a goal here. They're going to be lucky if they might get a fluke goal somewhere, but they're going to be lucky because it's the same pattern with Manchester United. They play well for the first 10-15 minutes without ever really looking like they're going to score a goal. And then, slowly their opposition team figures out what they're doing, and then they counter it. And Manchester United just don't have any answers because beyond that, they know nothing. The players have no creativity. The players have no imagination. Many of them are very, very selfish, and I will talk about that as well. And it's just like if plan A doesn't work, there's nothing else. There's nothing else to fall back upon because they have nothing else. And that's, as long as and then the other team gets chances. Now Burnley couldn't take their chances when they got them, and United got the one goal and they picked up a win. Palace is B team. Whereas today, I think Palace got the goal, and then Manchester United had nothing, and they had no answers of what to do after that. And all Crystal Palace had to do was sit deep, defend, and then see the game out. And I told this in preseason. I said this is giving me Louis van Gaal's second season vibes because that is basically what is happening, and it's worse than that actually, because even Louis van Gaal's second season was not this bad. But this is seriously a problem for Manchester United. 4 losses now in 7 games. They've in 7 Premier League games. They've not won a single Premier League game with by more than 1 goal. I think all their 3 wins have been by 1 goal. That's what it is. So they just don't look like a team that's going anywhere at this point, and there's a lot of issues. But let's talk about that goal first, because that goal is it comes from Amrabat giving away a foul. And I said this as well. Jordan Ayew brings nothing to the Crystal Palace team aside from winning fouls and getting players sent off, and he got a foul there. Fair play to him. He won a foul of Amrabat. Then the ball comes in from Eze. It's not a good cross. I think Hojlund should have done better on his clearance. He's kind of a bit lazy with that. I'm not sure who's on that left hand side. I'm not sure who it is, but that they just don't deal with it. There's a lot of laziness, and it comes to Ward, and he just smacks it, and it takes the deflection of Dalot. A lot of people said Onana could have done better, but if it's taken the deflection of Dalot, then I don't think Onana could do much about it, because that deflection is just swerves and goes inside. There's nothing the goalkeeper can do about it from that sort of range. So I think it's a bit harsh to say that Ronaldo could have done better. And a lot of people have this De Gea syndrome at this moment, where they think De Gea could have said this and De Gea could have saved that, thinking that De Gea was some kind of Superman, when he himself missed a lot of goals and had a lot of bloopers. So, but nonetheless, that was 1-0. United had plenty of time to respond and get back in the game, but they just never looked like they were going to get back into it. A lot of the times, the shots there were so many long range shots, so many speculative shots, so many speculative passes. I mean, Marcus Rashford was so selfish throughout this game. I was surprised he was taken off at 78, but some people will say, well, he was finally taken off. I would say, why he should have been taken off at halftime. He shouldn't even have come out for the second half, because he never looked in the game. He's someone who's obviously gone back to his he's had his one good season. He's got his new contract. Now I'm back to my to being what I am, to being the Marcus Rashford that I was before, and that clearly shows. It clearly shows in performance, and the difference in level is shown when Garnacho came on. That was the first time in the game when Manchester United actually looked a little bit threatening. When Garnacho came on, he started making things happen. But he's still raw, and he's not going to be someone who's going to carry Manchester United through the season. But he just looks like a different player. He just looks like someone who can do things. And the reason why he looks so threatening is because he's not someone who's always looking for goal. Sometimes he will pass it. Sometimes he will try to put a cross in. He will use his left foot as well to do things. Marcus Rashford just doesn't want to do it. Marcus Rashford, when he's on that left-hand side, all he wants to do is run at the player and try and get a couple of deflections and go past and try and get a goal. That's all he's trying to do. It doesn't work. It is very predictable, and teams have figured him out now, and they just know that all you have to do is stop the run. Like, he's going to run at you in a straight line, so stop him, and then he will go to the wide and he will do something, and then he'll just lose the ball because he has no imagination to do anything else. But it's not just on Marcus Rashford, because today I noticed something as well, and I know a lot of people spoke about this. The number of times the ball keeps going to the left-hand side. Every time Manchester United attack, the ball goes left. Bruno Fernandes, left. Amrabat, left. Dalot, left. Everybody tries to go left. It was almost, I think, for the first 35-40 minutes, Pellistri wasn't even involved in the game. I was like even thinking, do they even want Pellistri in the team? What is he there for? Is he just there to run back and try and protect when Dalot goes forward? He's just there to run back and track back and stop Dalot. It was so weird and so embarrassing to watch as well that they were just not using Pellistri. And I thought he made a couple of good runs. I'm not saying Pellistri was great. I don't think he had a good game even at the times when he was involved. I don't think he had a particularly good game. But they just didn't want to use him for whatever reason. It was almost just give the ball to Rashford, give the ball to Rashford, give the ball to Rashford. Bruno was the biggest culprit of that. I thought, like, he was just trying to pass it to Rashford every time. He had a poor game as well, but they just didn't want to use Pellistri for whatever reason. In the second half, they started using him more, and you could see United kind of grew into the game without ever really threatening to score, but they still grew more into the game because they started using Pellistri more. And when you use your two wingers, you stretch the defenders because the fullbacks know that, okay, fine, they're using this guy, so I've got to move a little bit towards him as well. Whereas if you keep going left, the defenders know that all we have to do is tuck in and squeeze the space because the other opposing wingers only trying to get into the box. It's just madness in some ways that how the players are protecting. I don't know if this. I can't imagine that these are instructions coming from Den Haag, and if they are, they need to change them. But I just think there's this kind of at this moment there's this kind of bromance between Bruno and Rashford, where Bruno just keeps trying to pass to Rashford every single time, even though other players are in space, even though he sees Hojlund in space, even though he sees Pellistri in space. He played one ball to Pellistri, I think, throughout that game. He played one decent ball, which of course was a bit overhit. But otherwise, it's just always Rashford. That's one issue. The other issue, of course, was Mason Mount. I don't think Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes as a midfield pairing is going to work. It's not going to work. And I think what Ten Hag was trying to do today was he was trying to use Amrabat as an auxiliary midfielder for Casemiro. And it worked for about 10 minutes. But then Crystal Palace kind of went, yeah, okay, so he's going to stay there. He's going to go in the middle. Fine, let's push our fullbacks and wingers up front. And they kind of just pinned Amrabat onto the left-hand side. So it meant that, Casemiro was often alone. I don't think Casemiro had a good game as well. He was very, very bad. Was lucky not to be sent off. Another game probably he could have been sent off. But he was lucky to stay on the pitch. Mason Mount. The thing about Mason Mount is he's not I've been saying this for a long time. I don't know what he brings to this team, and offensively, I don't think he brings anything to this team. What he does bring to this team is he brings a little bit of energy. He brings a little bit of running around. He does track back. The problem is he doesn't do it to the extent that a proper second midfielder is supposed to do now. When you look at the best probably some of the best midfielders in the league, you've got two players. The gold standard probably is Bissouma and Sa, right? They are two proper midfielders who can go forward and who've got energy to track back. That is what you need. They're two players whose main role is not to attack. Their main role is to just basically sit in and basically press as hard as possible and as high as possible, use their energy to win the ball back as high as possible, and make sure that if by any chance that press is broken, then they can track back very, very quickly and they can win the ball back or stop attacks. Mason Mount can't do that to the extent that those two can do it, and Casemiro can't do it on his own, and probably he can't even do it as well. So you need a second midfielder, and that's why Casemiro and Amrabat have got to start together, if at all, because otherwise United's midfield will always get overrun because Mason Mount can't do it. So Mason Mount either has to play as a number 10 or he has to play as a winger, and he won't play as a number 10 because Ten Hag won't drop Bruno. So it's just a weird signing, and I think Ten Hag is overestimated. In this case, I think he overestimated a little bit what Mount brings and probably underestimated what the Premier League actually needs in terms of midfield balance. And I think that's a mistake that will go down as a mistake from him. We'll be saying that. And that's just what it is. Either that or we'll be saying that he's bench Bruno. But I don't think he's going to bench Bruno. So that was a problem. I thought Amrabat didn't have a good game. I think it was pretty poor. throughout this game. Actually, he could have been sent off as well. He had 3 handballs, one of which was called, the other 2 he kind of got away with, but he could easily have been sent off in this game. And he had a poor game. Against Palace, he looked like a centre back, and he looked like a marauding, roaming left back. I think today he looked like a central midfielder who's being forced to play left back. He couldn't do it. He couldn't get the job done. I don't know what he came up against Jordan Ayew again, but maybe the fact that Palace had better midfielders, better fullbacks, probably caused him more problems than in midweek. And I think that tells you the problem. What the solution is, I don't know, because who's going to play left back? If he is going to play midfield, who's going to play left back? And if Dalot plays left back, who's going to play right back? So at the moment, I don't know what the obvious solution is, but he looked like a left back, like a central midfielder who's playing left back. So I don't want to go in on him too much because he's playing out of position, but he didn't have a good game. I think that's objectively to say. What I was surprised, and I'm a little bit disappointed, is that Hannibal didn't get any minutes today, and we didn't see Dango get any minutes today. I thought, Hannibal should have come on instead of Eriksen. I think Eriksen offered nothing to this game. I don't know why Eriksen came on anyway. He's done. Eriksen is done. You bring him on maybe for the last 30 minutes of a cup tie, but he's done as far as the Premier League midfielder is concerned. He's done. Or maybe you bring him on if by a miracle Manchester United ever lead 2-0, 3-0 or something in a league game, then you bring Eriksen on. But otherwise, there's no point to bring him on because he brings nothing. He brings even less than Mason Mount brings to this team. So I was surprised that it wasn't Hannibal. Maybe he's saving him for Galatasaray. But that was an issue. And I thought Dango probably could have come on in place of Casemiro, because Casemiro was a red card walking. Now, he got away with it and didn't get a red card. But I was surprised that at some point I thought maybe Dango might get 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Instead, he brought on Donny van de Beek. Probably again, I don't know what that substitution was all about. Was it probably a message to the 2 defenders to say that, or to the others to say, look who am I bringing on? You guys are so pathetic that look who I'm bringing on, or something like that kind of message. Or is there a way back for Donny in this team? I'm not sure. But I was surprised that Donny came on before Dango, and even Hannibal. Hannibal didn't come on either. So lots of head-scratching decisions from Ten Hag. It has to be said, a lot of head-scratching decisions as well from Ten Hag. Part of it is he's hamstrung by injuries, but and Martial should have come on much earlier than the 70th minute. I think he should have been on maybe even probably the 60th minute as well. He should have been on much earlier, and for him not to be on is also a bit criminal. Because, and partly I can understand the Martial situation, because you never know whether he's going to make. You bring him on, you don't know how long he's going to last. You could bring him on for 2 minutes and he could probably still find a way to get injured. So I kind of get it, but still, at some point you've got to start looking at that as well and thinking he's got to come on a bit early and hopefully he can stay through it, because United needed something different. And they never got it from Rashford. They didn't get it from Bruno. Martial, when he came on, he looked good actually. United looked a little bit better going forward when they came on. So, and that's the irony, isn't it? The fact that Garnacho and Martial came on as subs and they looked much better than Rashford. And even for that matter, Hojlund and Bruno. So yeah, I mean, it's a loss, 4 losses out of 7. I mean, I don't United right now, top 4 is a distant dream. It's not going to happen. Top 5 looks difficult. Even 6th at this moment in time looks like a pipe dream. But the good news for United is that Brighton and Aston Villa are kind of struggling with the midweek commitments a little bit. Villa, of course, are a bit inconsistent. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. Today they won 6-1. Brighton seem to be struggling a little bit. So the hope is there that United could finish 6th or 7th. And that is probably going to be the ceiling of the ambitions. But I wouldn't be surprised if they miss out on European football at this rate, because they just don't look like a team that's going anywhere at this point. And that is a big problem. Injuries have played a big part, yes. But you still wonder, the players that are playing, many of them just don't look up for it. And that is a major concern. But anyway, it's 3 points to Palace. Well done. Well played, Palace. I thought Eze was fantastic today. Looked really good. And he looked really good in the second half of the last game as well. I thought if he had played, Palace could very well have done much better in that game. But he didn't play, and for a reason, because Hodgson wanted him to be fit and ready for this one, to pick 3 points from this game. And he was excellent today. I would say he was my man of the match. I would say Eze was my man of the match. He was just so good in this game. But, really anybody in that back line could be a man of the match as well. You could give it to Joel Ward. You could give it to Guehi, who's really excellent as well. So lots of nominees from the Palace side. But yeah, I thought Eze looked good, and someone who really controls that game very well. You can see why Chelsea and Manchester City were interested in him in the summer. But yeah, phenomenal performance from Crystal Palace. Well done. United on to the next one. They've got Galatasaray next. Lose that one, which they likely will. And if they lose that one, then for those of you who don't like it, I don't mind it. But for those of you who don't like it, it might very well be Thursday night football or nothing. So that's where we're at this moment in time. Anyway, share your thoughts. on this game. Smash like for Crystal Palace, smash like for Eze. Very done, well done. And yeah, I mean, you know what? It doesn't even pain me anymore than these days to see United lose, because I almost expect them to lose every game. I go into every game thinking they're going to lose. So they win, it surprises me, but usually it's like, yeah, they're losing. But yeah, smash like for Crystal Palace. Well done. Do share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you think I'm being too harsh on about certain things, so put that in the chat. Always love to hear your thoughts. Do remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We appreciate the support. Got a lot of videos coming up today, so subscribe to get notified as they drop. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.